Coyote, what's up, bro?
How are you, brother?
Man, I'm good. Got to stay hydrated over there.
Yeah.
So, man, I'm a fan, so this is probably gonna be a more biased show. I'm not gonna lie. First off, thanks for your time today, and man, congrats on just hitting 1 million streams on the Reaper, by the way, too.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Is that 1 million?
Yeah, bro, it's over 1 million.
Oh shit. Yo, that's really cool, man. That's awesome.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Well, yeah, man, let's just dive into this, man. So honestly, I don't know a lot about your backstory, and I try to keep it fresh on here. Like, I don't want to dig too much into behind the scenes because I'd rather hear it from the man, himself. So let's get into it, man. How did you get into music overall before you develop this sound and this journey you're on currently?
Oh man, like I got into music, like really like wanted to do this. Like the only thing I wanted to do was be a musician since I was about like 8 or 9 years old. So like it's all I can really remember that I was like really driving for this. And it was once I saw this, like it was a Rolling Stone magazine. It was Green Day was on the cover. It was like 1994. And I saw Billy Joe in this magazine and I was like, I want to be that. You know what I mean? Like I loved everything about the whole stylistic aspect of it. I loved his, I was listening to it on cassette back then, dude. Cassette. Yeah. So like, and I never really looked back. I've always been driven on this journey, and now we're here.
Yeah. Well, so, you started in more rock, right? And then how you got rolling?
More rock?
Yeah, more just straight up rock instead of what you're doing now.
Oh, yeah. I was like in a punk rock band.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was in that, and then when you're in a band element, it's exhausting, bro. It's like being in a marriage, with 5 guys. Can you imagine? So like that had ran its course, and we had like a bit of success, and I thought that was really significant. I thought it gave me a lot of confidence, but man, like I feel like it's really hard, and it could be a very lonely road sometimes when you're this dedicated to something.
Yeah.
Because you give up a lot, and you're sacrificing left and right, big, little, and everything in between. You have to be really, really committed to this. And I don't think that that's for everybody, as it shouldn't be, right?
Right.
So I just knew that was in me, and I pulled the cord like I was fucking LeBron James, bro. Like leaving the fucking Cleveland Cavaliers, going to Miami, bro. I was like, I'm taking my talents to South Beach. I'm going solo, and I did, and I never looked back, bro.
Yeah, man. It's a dynamic. What most people don't think about, like everyone wants to, that rite of fame or that rite of fucking passage, or to be on top of the hill, but no one ever talks about how, like you just said, that spoke to me right there, like that lonely road. No one talks about that shit. Like that's never like, man, it's not put up there to where people want to be like, oh, that's not idolized or anything. Having a discussion of, hey man, you're going to miss out on a lot of shit, and you're going to change, you're going to do a lot of different things you thought you'd never do, or, you'd sacrifice a lot if you're really 100% in this game.
And you're going to, people stop relating with you because you're like so in your own lane.
Yeah.
And they root for you as long as they can until you start doing things that are unthinkable, and then they're just like, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah. Well, your sound too, and there's probably some people out there in my network that may not know who you are, but your sound is something that's so fucking unique, and anytime, like I really didn't know who you were until I'd heard your music, but I didn't really know who you were, and so a few months back I started listening, and that's how I had Bad Wolf on a couple months ago on the show. We were talking about that, but the vibe of the sound that you have, and the stuff that he's featured on, it's still your sound. Like something there is so unique that no one can touch it, man. I don't know, like how do you put a label on that? Like how did you find that?
I completely agree with what you're saying. I do believe that I'm like writing these like rather clever licks that are like, they're like super swamped out. Like they're just like, they're so gritty and they're so catchy at the same time. You know, I just, I kind of, I kind of grew up writing punk and like pop punk stuff, which is just like very licky, you know?
Yeah.
And so when I wanted to add the country element to it, I kind of just told myself that like, write the country that you would want to listen to. Don't write what's been done.
Right.
Like, do it how you would want to do it. And it's funny that you say that, because imagine me thinking that and then subconsciously thinking that I wanted to enter the hip hop world.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Like, so I wrote it in a way, and I worked with a producer to where we could like bridge this pretty seamlessly to where it doesn't seem like it's like such a leap, you know? It's not, it's not like corny, you know what I mean? It's
no, I mean, you have such a dark element, right? You have a dark blues feel to your music, and that shit meshes well with hip hop. It really does if you put it in the right, box.
Yeah, and I think and I think that like I kind of lobbed it up to Bad Wolf at the time. Like I like wrote something for him and like kind of like a lob, and he kind of hit it out of the park. So it was like, now we're on to something, and we're on to something in a way that we're not like culture vultures about it. We're not like coming in trying to write what has been written before. It was almost like we were trying to coexist on this project. And I remember him and I talking and saying, the funny thing about me and Bad Wolf is that like we never intended to be a band.
Okay.
It was Yellow Wolf who said, "Hey, I want you guys to perform at Slumfest." And me and Bad Wolf looked at each other like, well, I guess we got to start a band then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we're like, yo, why don't we just keep it Wild the Coyote and Bad Wolf?
Yeah.
And so at the time, Bad Wolf was coming to my shows, and I would pull him on stage and he would rap out with the band, and people weren't even getting it at the time. I was like, don't worry about it. Like, this is just a vision that I have. Like, just let him come up here and kind of rap out. So he did that. And then, so we had like an admiration for it, like what we were doing. And then, so Yellow pulled us out to Nashville, and then we were just kind of like, yo, we have to make this, we got to start writing songs together. And so we could both coexist, Wild the Coyote and Bad Wolf. And then we just wrote like a handful of songs, and by the grace of God, they stuck.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that shit's everywhere. You got like, what y'all got shit on Yellowstone, on Mayors of Kingstown. Y'all got some shit. I mean, it's popping off.
Yeah.
Well, so tell me, like, influence wise, like what influenced you, other than that, that album cover you were talking about early on, like what influenced you, like maybe on the country spectrum, what influenced you, like who influenced you on the rock spectrum, and then what's your hip hop element in there, like that you look towards, is like, what kind of built what you have now?
Well, the first and the only song that inspired me to do Wild the Coyote was Johnny Cash, God's Gonna Cut You Down.
Okay.
I heard that song, I was like, this is everything that I want to be. Like, it's country, it's folk, it's blues, and it's also like had these like really crusty hip hop beats in it, like it was so lethal. Like I was like floored. And so I knew that I could kind of coexist in this world. So so that was the country element. I really don't listen to a lot of country music, to be completely honest with you. I listen to the classics. I listen to a lot of oldies.
Yeah.
A lot of Elvis Presley, Dion and the Belmonts, the Marvelettes. Like I love that kind of stuff.
Hell yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of like my like dream genre. But I also come from a background of like, I also come from a background of pop punk. Like Blink 182 was
Yeah.
I told you I grew up. Look, when you come from a country town, bro, and you got immigrant parents like I did, you don't get a lot of like classic music. You know, you don't get a lot of like the indie stuff, like
Yeah.
the shit that people don't. You get a lot of mainstream because you're like in a, you know, like you're in a small town. So it was limited access to what I was listening to. But when I got behind the formula of punk and punk rock, and you know, and obviously my catalog and library of bands and artists is huge now, but that's how I came up. Songs that made you feel something in a very kind of, you know, very clever way. And I just kind of have followed that.
Yeah.
And so other than that, I listen to a lot of like Suicide Boys, like Bones, like
Okay.
23. Yeah, like I get down with that kind of shit.
Hell
So I listen to that kind of most. Other than that, I'm probably blasting like some punk and you know, hip hop, you know, oldies.
yeah. Hell yeah. I like the mix up, man. I think that's interesting. It's always interesting to see where someone was motivated, you know, how they were motivated to develop, you know, even though you have something that's entirely different, it's still where it came from. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Each person is different. You said you had immigrant parents. Like, is that's something I feel like that always prescribes to someone's hustle. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. So like I grew up in like a really small country town, like one stoplight, like more cows than people, you know? And my dad, he's from the Middle East. My mom's from Mexico.
okay.
We moved there really when I was really young, and my dad owned the market on Main Street. And so like he became like the town, we call him the mayor. He's not the mayor. We call him the mayor. Like everybody does. Like everybody knows Sam the man. Like he was the G. Like he was the guy. And that was really heavy on my life because, you know, he made everything safe for us. You know, he really ruled our world. And but you kind of realize that you're like a minority sometimes, you know. And I now at my age I can tell like the distinctual times where, you know, we were minorities in a white town and whatnot. But it was amazing. I mean, you know, having immigrant parents in a very country town, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can see how, I mean, I know that it happens a lot, you know, immigrants just seem to have more hustle, you know, than, you know, someone that grows up in that area. I don't know, just, it always stands out to me. It's like, man, if you're an immigrant or you're from immigrant parents, you just always have that signature hustle that can't be duplicated.
Yeah, you know, like I you know, my dad had no education to speak of. I never went to school after high school. Like we just grinded. And I also think that my dad and I share the philosophy of treating people with a lot of respect. I feel like my dad really really instilled me with treating people very kindly and like respecting their position in your life, no matter what it was like. So my mom too. So I think that's why we were able to like have a good energy and be successful.
Well, that's something too you don't see a lot in the music industry, man. It's pretty cutthroat out there, you know.
You're telling me, bro. You're telling me.
Oh,
Yeah.
No, like, I mean, I could just, you know, I've been around a lot of people that's been in it, you know, and through it. I'm not a musician of no sorts, you know, but I've been in the operations of it, and I've just seen a lot of shady shit, man, and a lot of dark elements to that industry. So like, you know, just saying that, and, you know, being true to yourself and like trying to be kind to everyone is something that if you can do it in that industry, shit, bro, like.
It just, that's the thing. It's like, it doesn't matter what the industry is in, you know, that's where I think people get caught up.
Yeah.
You know, listen, man, like a lot of people treat me a certain type of way because of what I do. And it's getting to the point where I'm like, I get it. Like, I'm not, you know, it seems like what I'm doing is unimaginable to you, but like it's any industry, bro. We're just the same, you know, like this is just my work. You know what I mean? This is just the line of work that I do. But really, like, I think that it's all boils down to how you carry yourself, the vibe that you have, the integrity that you have, the dignity that you have on your name, you know, and really, you know what, like people, like I did a couple interviews this last weekend, and like twice they were like, what's your legacy? Like, what is your, and I'm like, I'm not even thinking like legacy wise, dude. Like all I'm thinking is like, have good energy, have a good vibe where people want to fuck with you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's really not much else, dude. Like, I don't guarantee that this is, you know, I don't believe that this is guaranteed for tomorrow. So I treat it as like something that I really cherish.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I called you earlier. I'm like, yo, we need to like kind of bond a little bit.
Oh, that's the first. I appreciate that. I like that, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Because like whenever I get on these things, dude, it's like there's always glitches and shit. And like you know, like I say a joke and then nothing happens. I'm like, so I was like, no, I gotta call him and we gotta wrap out for a second and just, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I mean, and so like being that way, like what you're saying, like that shakes up the game a little bit. Like if you're, you know, yourself always 100%. Have you had any like negative energy come towards you? How do you deal with that shit? I mean, I'm sure you have. Everybody does. Everyone has fucking haters.
Yeah, I have negative energy come at me, you know, in every way, shape, and form that you can imagine. I have it coming from my contemporaries, like my peers.
Yeah.
People get jealous, or they get you know, you just butt head, you know, catch a bad vibe with people that you're working with, or you know, it could be a relationship where they're not like fucking with you the way you think or what you're doing. And then it could also be like haters on the internet, you know. I never like chime into that shit, but like I see it, you know. What do I do with it? I almost feel like you know, I almost feel like as long as my name's in your fucking mouth, then I'm fucking doing something right. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's like, guess who's not talking about you? Me, bitch. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like I said, I try to just keep it like 100 with what I'm doing, and just try to, because the people that work with me, like obviously you and I are collaborating together right now, like there's a good vibe here, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So it's, you know, people think they know you, you know, like, and they don't.
Well, dude, I was just having this conversation with someone the other day. Like, people think once you achieve something worthy of talking about, you know, whether it be just you having this milestone on Spotify this week, you know, sometimes once you start achieving shit, people look at you like you're not fucking human anymore, man. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like all this bullshit with this blown up the internet right now with fucking Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, like, and they're hating on this dude and they're talking like, I'm just like, dude, he's fucking human. Shit happens. You know what I mean? No one's fucking perfect. It's like the more you put someone on a pedestal, you expect them to be exactly the thing that you want them to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, the only thing I will say it on that, and we could keep it pushing, but is like, be careful when you're so much on Front Street. You know what I mean? Like, he's been airing himself out for a long time. Yeah. So when you're so much in the public eye, like, you might get ripped to shreds or whatever, you know, but like, I don't know, man. It whatever.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to create a tangent there. I just like it just
No, not at all. No, not at all. No, no, not at all. I'm just like, I'm coming to peace with it, like how I feel, you know, and it's just like, dude, you're too much. You're asking for it, you know, like how, you know, anyway. So
Well,
Well,
so what do you do? Like, so what's your life aside from music, man? What do you do? Like, what's your hobbies? What do you fuck with outside of the studio and
man,
shows, of
I'm
course?
constantly working. If it's not the studio, then I'm rehearsing. If I'm not in rehearsing, I'm in a meeting. If I'm not in a meeting, I'm doing merch. I drum and create my own merch. If I'm not doing that, I'm writing with somebody else. I really don't take my foot off the gas unless I really need to. But I'm just constantly trying to create. I'm trying to constantly have my fingers in any avenue that I can, because I feel like it all reflects back to how creative that you are and like what you're putting out there. So I just keep myself busy. Downtime, I shoot pool.
Really? Okay.
Oh, and I'm a huge sports nerd.
Like
So I'm
all sports?
LA sports.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
I'm a huge Dodger fan, even bigger Laker fan, big Rams fan. Now that I'm out in Nashville, I have to get into hockey because they're like super into the Predators.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I spent either countless hours following up on sports, and if not, I'm shooting pool, and the majority of the time I'm working. I'm working on.
I didn't know you're in Nashville right now. How's that going? Like, how's that switch for you?
So I moved to Nashville like 7 weeks ago, a little over
Okay.
7. Yeah. So Nashville is amazing, man. Like nothing like it. And I felt like I needed like I'm, so hungry with what I'm doing. And like I said, like my foot's on the gas all the time. And I felt like what after I released my album in January, 7 Roses, I felt like I was like in a position where I could be mobile. I thought I was going to go on tour, and a tour didn't line up at that moment. So I was in a meeting and someone was like, yo, you need to go out to Nashville. I was like, say less. You know what I mean? Like, hold my beer, bro. I'm out. I think like a month later, I moved out here, and now I'm not leaving. So I still have my place in LA, but I'll probably, figure out how to be primarily here in Nashville and go to the West Coast when I need to.
Yeah, no, I think for what you're doing, that's a perfect spot, dude. And I just recently was there a few months ago, and it's an amazing fucking city.
Right.
Just had a chick. She was awesome, and I need to connect you with her. Her name's Megan Thomas. She's actually a news anchor there locally, and she does like this featured artist spot too. So she has a show. I need to link you up with her, man. She's good people, like, for a local in the music scene too,
Yeah,
but
I love that.
a beautiful city, man, and so much talent there too, man. Like just fucking insane. Dude, and like this,
it's insane, dude.
Yeah,
it's fucking insane, man. And like that's why I kind of felt like I was like gonna come out here and like get my chops up. Like if anything, like I'm just gonna get my chops up. And I've never seen like this town is just driven on music, from LA. Like, when I moved to LA, that was 17 years ago. It was different than what it is now. LA's a different place. And it's not driven by music at all. It's driven mostly on, innovators and the rich and the famous.
Status quo, man. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So coming here, it was almost like I found my tribe, like I was like, fuck, like I kept telling people that I'm like, don't question me and what I'm willing to put in. Question yourself if you're willing to like handle how fast I'm coming. Yeah. And that's why I hit the ground running, like I really put myself to the test. And, I feel like every day that I'm here is on like not borrowed time, but like you got to make something of it. You're not here to fucking kick it. You know what I mean? Like get to work. So it's just been awesome. Like I'm like a hungry hippo. Like it's just feeding me. And I like didn't have that in LA as much as I wanted to. I mean, I did. But after the album was out, I'm like, I wanted to feast. So I came out here and it's just like, it's the buffet.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. So you're one of your songs on that recent album, your most recent album. I really like Bedlam. I like that fucking jam on Seven Roses. That's some good shit right
Yeah.
there.
Oh, that's awesome. Bedlam was so funny because it's kind of like the hardest song on the album. It's like da da
Yeah.
da 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 da. So when I was writing Seven Roses, I was like, fuck, I really want to write a country kind of like punk album, like punk rock album. And so I added these elements into it because I add those triplets in it too in the bridge. They're like da 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 da. So if I were to transfer that into like metal, it would just go da 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 da, which is what I tried to get out of it. But I'm like, had to make it more my style.
Yeah.
But yeah, that song was hard. People try to tell me what, or not tell me, but what they think it's about. It was about the 2020 year, really. It was about the pandemic. Like, I felt like in that time, like I was, remember in the pandemic, like you were like riddled to your own house, right? You had to be in one place. So I didn't know, like at that point, I'm like, I can't go home. Like I can't go back up to Templeton, which is where I'm from. I have to be in LA. And it was just like every single day, the world was just getting worse.
Yeah.
Like really worse. And like everyone's opinion was almost like a default to themselves. You know what I mean? It's just like, I remember saying, remember the quarantine?
Yeah.
I remember saying, everybody quarantines their own way. Everybody gets their information their own way. Don't judge one another. Honestly, just like do whatever is going to make you feel safe and just kind of shut the fuck up about it, because it was too risky to hear people's opinion.
Yeah. Well, it was something that, it happened. I remember when it first happened and it was like everyone seemed to come together, right? In that, right in that initial moment, it started seeing like you just seen a lot of positivity out there and shit, and everyone seemed to start coming together. And then there, after a few months, man, shit started getting twisted, and everybody had saying this and saying that. And fuck, I feel like we're just now getting back on a path of, some trajectory here.
So exactly. So,
Yeah.
In those core, I have just lost my mind and everybody needs to know. And then the other line, we have just lost mankind and everybody needs to know. Like, I felt like we were trapped, and like also the most like wild that we had ever been. People were just wilding like in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah.
So I remember even looking up like what was I gonna call that song, and I had never even used the word bedlam before, but it came up. I read the description of it. I'm like, that's exactly how I feel. Like this is just chaos.
Yeah.
Chaos. But that's really cool that you like that song. I hadn't really talked about that. What's crazy is that like that song has the most streams off the album, and I've never talked about that song.
Really? Well, I mean, I've listened to the whole album. I knew you were coming on. I was like, well, let me check out this new album because I've still been jamming your other stuff, and I was like, wow, that one just sticks out to me for some reason, man. And just I like it, and it's a mix up too. It's not it's not the traditional stuff either. It's a little different than what you've been doing. I like it,
Totally. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And apparently the majority of people like it, but that's good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So what are you doing? Are you doing any type of like, are you playing anywhere live right now? Are you doing anything? What's going on right now?
So right now I'm starting this acoustic EP. I'm going to write something kind of very grainier, kind of like more organic sounding than Seven Roses. Seven Roses was so produced, and like I wanted it to be like that. I wanted it to be loud and kind of fat, heavy. And so now I want to write something very folky, very acoustic. So I've started to do that, and I've started to work on a live set to that. So I'll probably start like popping up and doing kind of like open mics or whatever the fuck. Something where I don't have to like book a show and like announce it, you know, just kind of just go up and write or and perform. And then a tour will be announced pretty soon.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you too. You're talking about stuff that doesn't have to be booked. Now, are you doing like, do you do all your own marketing and shit?
Yeah.
I mean, because like I just appreciate that, man. I look at him like this dude, like from your fucking style, you know, into the shoots of how, you know, the clothing you're doing, the feel of what I mean. I just feel like your marketing meshes with who you are. I'm like, he has to be doing his own shit, like because if someone's helping him do this shit, they're fucking on point to exactly what is, you know.
Oh no, man, that's like branding, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that like ask, you know, how, you know, like advice or what makes you different or something. It's the branding, bro. It's like I never stop, you know, like I never turn it off. I know exactly what I'm doing with it. And it's more like how much I want to expose. So I do all my own marketing. I do all my own, obviously I dress myself. Like, yeah, you don't have a stylist. I don't have like a head of marketing. No one's like putting me into clothes. This is all organic. My team is built off what I do, not the other way around.
Gotcha.
I'm not, you know what I mean? Like my team is here because of what I've built, not because what they can build for me.
Yeah.
You know? So, you know, if someone, you know, the people that have rolled the dice on me were like, you know what you're doing. I believe in what you're doing and I want to help what you're doing. So this is all, you know, curated to me. And I think that's why it works. You know, I think that's.
Yeah. I mean, I have a background in marketing and that's what I do on, you know, my daily hustle. And like, it's that shit just, I noticed those things and like, man, I just really respect that because like you're doing the whole build up yourself. You know what I mean? You're doing everything. So when that time comes where you can't anymore because you're just fucking popping off so much, like you've developed that already. It's there. It's not like you're trying to find find your identity or look a certain way. Like, no, this is fucking me, man. And I'm doing it and I know how it works. And I mean, just the fact that when I reach out to you, you respond personally, like that fucking shit. I respect that. I love that. Like, yeah, you're busy. Yeah, you're grinding, but you still take time to talk to someone like me, one of the little guys, you know what I mean? So like that shit just, it screams like straight up, just all positive vibes, man, for sure.
That's what we're talking about though, right?
Yeah.
Like that basically like, I'm not, there's no way I'm going to let you walk away and being like, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
You know, that guy too cooled me. Like, nah, bro. I remember when I never had somebody hitting me up like you did. And I used to say, I can't wait till somebody hits me up. And I never treat it like you think that you're going to get famous. And then when you do, you're going to act a certain way. But I'm like holding on to this, like with the utmost respect for this kind of journey, you know? And so, no, I mean, I know when you hit me up and there's a lot of people that hit me up and I know who to respond to and know how to respond to them.
Yeah.
You know? And, you know, I don't look at it as the little guy or anything like that. I look at it as the same guy as I was, just on different time length, you know, time waves.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I never, you know, and again, like it's not like I take everything that's offered to me. I pick and choose. So, but this is something that I thought it'd be good that we talked.
Yeah, dude. No, I appreciate it for real.
Yeah.
What else, dude? I feel like I'm missing something here. What else? Like, what else is going on with you, man? What else? Are there any plugs you want to throw out there? Anything you got? I mean, the new album's out. I mean, it's great. The fucking congrats again on the stream thing, dude. That's monumental for any
You know,
artist.
I didn't even know
That's
that.
crazy. You didn't even know that shit, man.
Hold on, let me look it up, bro. Are you dead ass serious with that? Are you dead serious? Let me look it up.
Serious. Spotify, bro. It's there.
Hold up. Wild the. Oh fuck.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. You and I are literally like experiencing this together at the same time, right?
Yeah, that's fucking great. I mean, that's amazing.
Damn. That's cool, man. I don't know. On to the next, really. I mean, I couldn't be more thankful for that. And, you know, Yellowstone, and it's also on Mary of Kingsville town.
Kingstown. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Well, I mean, you got anything coming up? Are you doing anything with Bad Wolf? Anything? Y'all got anything going on coming up soon or anything? Or you got anything with like anybody else that you can talk about maybe?
I can't talk about any of the collabs I have.
Okay.
But I'm super excited to release a lot of the new music. I think that you guys will, you know, for the listeners, will be really stoked. I'm like really diving into my music, being apprehensive of what people like. I know I like what you guys like. So like, I'm going to hit the country thing. You know what I mean? Like, I know you guys like the Johnny Cash stuff, the low tone shit. So we're going to do that. And we're going to do that on a project. Now I'm going to also pump out something that's like very country trap.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So like, yeah, you guys better be like, you know, I'm super, you know, I'm super psyched to release a lot of the stuff that I'm capable of doing. So yeah, it'll be a little bit of everything, you know.
Dude. I'm excited for it. Well, look,
Me
man,
too.
I appreciate your time. Do you have any last words or anything? Any plugs you want to throw out there before we close out?
No plugs. I just want to get this on Instagram. Hold up. Yes. Say what up.
What's up?
Appreciate it.
Hell yeah, dude.
Hold up. Yo. Check us out. Frequency interrupted. No, man, from the bottom of my heart, thanks for having me on. I had a great time. It was dope to kick it with you. And you know, now we're boys, so you can holler at me anytime, bro.
Hell yeah, man. Appreciate your time, homie. Everyone hit him up, Instagram, Wild Coyote. Thanks, man.
Appreciate it.